Hey, I'm back, guys. Better than ever, hopefully. I lost a little weight, you know. Got a little more sex appeal for the ladies. And fellas, too. And I'm not judging. Alright, so this is StarDuels, which probably explains my hair growing so much. I know, I'm getting it cut. Okay, so what you need to know, well, obviously, this is Starcade 88 to be the man from Greensboro, North Carolina. Yeah, Flair's a big part of the show. This will be the first NWA WCW Starcade show, and it doesn't really make a difference, only it's a little more into popular culture. Ring entrances are not generic, they're big artists and, stuff like that. Since Starcade 88, Sting has won the vacated United States Heavyweight Championship by beating 3 men in a one-night tournament, obviously separate. Barry Windham now goes by the nickname World Class, and he's quite a big star, and we'll see what happens with him. All right, our opener, Shane Douglas versus Scott Steiner, two young guns. Steiner wins in probably about a 7-8 minute match with a Frankensteiner pin, where he spikes the gun his head. Rick and Scott will be uniting next year, but till this year, Scott has a nice debut. I want the Steiners to be more polished when they start as a team. All right, then we have the Midnight Express and beautiful Bobby Eaton versus the original Midnight Express, Buddy Rhodes and Dennis Condrey. I'm sorry, I wrote this really wrong. And Mike Rotundo with Paulie Dangerously. It's basically Midnight Express versus Midnight Express. Old guard versus the new. And Eaton, Lane, and even Cornette have turned face, which people were like, Cornette has a face back then? No way. I basically want Cornette playing himself right now in real life, like where he's kind of speaking for the disenfranchised fan, like the fans who want to see wrestling, basically. We have both teams in the ring, except the mystery partner of the Midnight Express. Jimmy Cornette grabs the microphone and works it like only JC can. And for once, it's to cheers instead of jeers of the audience. And, boys, I got a surprise for you. And then another one bites the dust hits. It's the Junkyard Dog. He's the mystery partner of Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane. This is in Carolina, and it's JYD. I mean, anywhere, New York City, anywhere, JYD. He was over. But North Carolina, or Carolina, man. Bobby Eaton pins Buddy Rhodes. The Express and JYD win. Alright, I jumbled that up a little bit, but it'll make more sense in text. Alright, then we have a tag match between Steve Williams and Johnny Ace, and Dusty and Dustin Rhodes. Steve Williams and Johnny Ace, they're using a lot of the Japan thing, like how they're superior athletes and world traveling and all that. And young Dustin makes a debut in this match, his pro debut with his father, Dusty, only to turn his back on his own dad, to leave, Dusty savagely beaten by Johnny Ace and Dr. Death. And Dustin grabs the microphone and says, "I'm Dustin Reynolds. I hate that man in that ring. He's a liar. He's a coward. He's not my father, and I quit." Which shocks people, like he quit. Which, don't worry, I'm not just leaving it like as some cliffhanger with nothing at the end of the cliff. There's something. Wait. I think it was released anyway. Alright, so then we have Lex Luger versus Bam Bigelow. Luger completely dominates Bam Bam and submits him with the torture rack. Yeah, I know. I want Luger to be a little bit of a legend killer, or not a legend killer, like a giant killer. Then we have Sting. He's being built up, but not too fast. Obviously, he won't be going for the world title just yet, maybe a couple of years, but he's going for the United States Heavyweight Championship, which is very prestigious to me. Same as the Intercontinental title back when it was like, almost equal to the world title in WWF. Okay, NWA United States Heavyweight Championship, Sting, the challenger, versus the Great Muta. Muta and Sting, you don't have to do much with them. They just have like a natural kind of a rivalry, even when they're not in a feud. It's just, they work well together. Sting picks up the victory with Scorpion Deathlock, looks very dominant, and yeah, still NWA United States champ. Alright, then we have a big, huge match. This would definitely be my runner-up. It's my 6th match. I'm only on the 7-match card. Alright, 2 out of 3 falls. NWA World's Tag Team Championships. The Road Warriors. You've got Hawk, Animal, the champions versus the challengers, Rick Steiner and Ron Simmons. Kind of a makeshift, but they're not really. It's like an all-American thing. All right, so this match is like a 25-minute classic. Doomsday Device gives the Road Warriors the win, and they are the new NWA Tag Team Champions. Hawk and Animal win 2 falls to 1, or 2 falls to none, sorry, and they just established their dominance. You know, Rick and Ron come close, but the All-Americans just weren't enough for the bulldozer of a team, the Yellow Divas. You want to call them that. All right, now we got to get the story behind the main event. It's lengthy. Basically, you would have Barry Windham, who's always been a wholesome American pie, loves the troops, loves, you know, the American children, kissing babies, all that stuff. He believed in strong values, helping out the community, you know, volunteering with Make-A-Wish and other charitable organizations, building houses for less fortunate people or people who had their houses burned down, whatever. He's Ty fucking Pennington. The most selfless and honest champion of all time, even more so than Dusty. But around the 6th, 7th month of having the best matches on the card, main eventing, having that title, having never having his shoulders pinned at all for the 3 count, even going 60 minutes and having a 5-star classic with Ric Flair. Barry started getting, you know, too cocky, flying the Learjets and the limousines. He was kind of becoming what he hated, which is Ric Flair. You know, the Rolexes, the women. Despite having a wife, he was the talk of the town, but he's also just turning into a sleaze, denying his fans autographs, you know, that sort of thing. Not shirking on his volunteer duties. You know, Windham always has at least one woman on his side. He pretty much admits that he's cheating on his wife, which I don't know if he had a wife then, but he definitely does in the storyline. And, yeah, he kind of becomes the nature boy and starts to push Flair out. Barry takes it even one step further and says that he's the greatest professional wrestler to ever lace up a pair of boots, and he's the only one who could ever, give him kind of competition is himself. So he's just a being a really cocky guy, and you know, he's saying kind of almost like, you're going to have to clone me. You're going to have to figure out cloning and make another Barry Windham, or I'm going to have to retire this title, that sort of thing. And then you hear the, woo! You know, Ric Flair's music hits. It's the Nature Boy. He's coming back. Rick gets on the mic. You know, big man, you've relit something in me. You know, that kind of thing. The Nature Boy hasn't whooped ass for a long time. I'm going to whip your ass, boy. You know, that sort of thing. It's the one and only Nature Boy. Woo! This is Ric Flair, Jack. You know, that sort of thing. Wyndham's Flair, if you can pin my shoulders to the mat right now, I will give you a shot at this gold. Because I'm such a nice guy. You know, Windham gets down on all fours. Flair has a good ride time. He frustrates Windham. So Flair gets down on all fours. Windham is unable to shake Flair. So, you know, if Flair's style like you said, give you one more shot and get down in a position. Flair goes down. Windham nods his head in agreement and proceeds to kick Flair on the side. And just punches him in the ear, just lets loose on him. Windham loses it, bloodies up Flair, old school, real old school, which this would be. You know, and then once you know, Windham gets a microphone, he's still like, Flair, you got your match. Be careful what you wish for, you know, you might just get it, you know, basic stuff. 2 weeks later, Flair's interviewed from his home via satellite, and he updates the fans on his condition. He sends a message to Windham as well. And, you know, Windham broke his eardrum, that's what we'll say. You know, Windham, you broke my eardrum. Now I'm going to break your legs. I'll see you in Greensboro, champ. You know, that you got that kind of match building up. They've only really had a little physical altercation, but it's, you know, I've let it simmer a little bit, longer than CM Punk and John Cena said that. This is the main event of Starcade 88. To be the man, no holds barred for the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. The challenger, Nature Boy Ric Flair versus world-class Barry Windham. After a hard-fought 35 minutes of back-and-forth action, Windham wins it with a huge lariat after Flair kicks out of the first lariat. The show closes with your new NWA World Heavyweight Champion, world-class Barry Windham. Yes, I'm going with Windham, heel Windham, so, you know, he pulls off the ultimate upset against the unstoppable force the first year and Steve Williams, and then the next year, you know, he defends it despite looking like Flair's got it, which gives people like a, oh, I want to see this guy beat. And, well, that's kind of where I hook you a little bit, isn't it? All right, guys. Adios, and Mickey Babylon. Let's see what you got, buddy. All right, later.